The timekeepers. By agreement, we are treating it as statement. So you have 5 minutes to comment on the statement. I'm therefore drawing the attention of the timekeepers to it and drawing the attention of the members to it, that when the 5 minutes is up, your phone will be off. Your microphone will be off. I then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Abena Osei Asari. Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed.
Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker has agreed there should be some decorum. There should be some silence when members are doing their submissions or commentaries. Speaker, in all of this is just to ensure that we have a very smooth conversation on this matter, so that there won't be unnecessary, respectfully, unnecessary interjections. It's just for your attention, Speaker. So
yes, leadership has guided me during conclave.
Very well.
So I'll do exactly the same.
Thank you.
Yes, you have the floor. Your time starts now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, every credible fiscal assessment will have to start from the revenue. And Mr. Speaker, the total revenue and grants amounted to 268. And government says half year is supposed to do 126. We see a shortfall of close to 2 billion. And Mr. Speaker, the shortfall of close to 2 billion has to do with domestic goods, taxes on domestic goods and services. That alone saw a shortfall of 6.8 billion. Mr. Speaker, when you drill down, VAT tells some story. It tells a story that people are not buying, businesses are not flourishing, and that is how come you see a fall in VAT and excise duty tax. You see a fall of 2.3 billion for VAT and excise duty as well. Mr. Speaker, VAT does not respond to the press conferences, the slogans, and the yeah. VAT responds to economic activities. And so far as economic activities is not going on, is not truly moving, the economy is not moving. Mr. Speaker, in 2025, there was a shortfall of revenue to the tune of 5 billion Ghana cedis upon all the 8 new taxes that the government puts in place in 2025. So that is what we should be asking ourselves. What is happening? What is happening that we are seeing a huge shortfall in our taxes, even though we keep on increasing taxes or coming up with new revenue handles? Then, Mr. Speaker, I go to expenditure. Mr. Speaker, for expenditure, same time last year, half year 2025, we saw expenditure fall by 18.5 billion. But this year, half year, expenditure is down by 31.3 billion Ghana cedis. Government is therefore not balancing the books, Mr. Speaker. They are is balancing the books by just not spending. And if spending is not spending at the right places, Mr. Speaker, capital expenditure saw a downward trend of 14.3 billion. And for me, an MP from Etiwa East, where we have the Osino Enyinem Konongo bypass, you not spending on capital expenditure means I am not getting the roads completed. And that is a sad story. So if government comes to say that I'm living within my means, but is not spending in the right places, Mr. Speaker, economic activity is not flourishing, and it will not help develop the economy. We are stifling growth by not spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, again, what I hear the minister talk about is the fact that, yes, they have given money to the assemblies, but have you checked the Auditor General's reports that all the 3 billion, the minister increased allocations to the district assemblies to the tune of 3 billion, but have you checked the infractions? That has also escalated. So you don't just give the monies, but you also strengthen internal controls. Go and check, Mr. Speaker, the infractions increased from 18 million to 134 million in 2025. So that is what we should check. Spend in the right places and make sure the internal controls are strong. Mr. Speaker, one thing that also, raises a lot of concern is an expenditure item in the end of 2025 budget that had to do with gold board. Mr. Speaker, I am concerned because I realized that in the last quarter, that was when 4.5 billion Ghana cedis was transferred to one agency. But then let me ask our ministers here, whether in the last quarter, all your allocations were made to you. Fortunately, we were told that these monies went on the 30th or 31st December. You ask yourself, 48 hours to the end of the financial year. That is when government decides to transfer 4.5 billion Ghana cedis to one agency. Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding, that same agency, yesterday, the IMF produced the reports of the 6th review. And Mr. Speaker, listen to what the IMF said. And that has to do with this very same agency. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I read. In completing the review, the Executive Board approved a waiver of non-observance of the end December 2025 performance criteria pertaining to the ceiling on Bank of Ghana. Bank of Ghana claims on central government and public entities, and that they breached the margin due to the cost-sharing arrangement under the domestic gold purchase program. So, Mr. Speaker, by Bank of Ghana spending close to $900 million on the gold board, if they hadn't waived this, we wouldn't have passed the 6th review. This is not Abna saying it. This is the IMF saying it. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at these things and make sure we do things and do it rightly. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, you go to page 145 of the 2026 report. Government promised the people of Ghana 800 new jobs.
Honorable member, your time is up. Honorable members, is now the turn of Honorable Ataisa. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank the Minister of Finance for the media review presented to Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the performance of a budget should reflect in the livelihoods of people on all economic ages. If you look at household, inflation is relatively stable within the 8 to 10% inflation band. That guarantees predictability and easy planning. Mr. Speaker, if you have an economy that has an environment of interest bank lending rate falling from about 32% to 15.6%, Ghana reference rate falling from about 29% to 10.06%, and you also have the policy rate falling from about 29% to 14%. That guarantees easy and cheaper source of capital for private sector. And I'm not surprised that access to private capital has grown by 22.8%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana indeed, after the presentation of the media review, we had one press conference addressed by 3 speakers. Mr. Speaker, it is worth noting to understand that the external sector of Ghana has improved. Ghana is now respected. Ghana is no longer described as a junk economy. All rating agencies across the globe has rated Ghana stable with a positive macro outlook. Mr. Speaker, I will premise my submission on debunking only one thing. The thing is that the minority always keep referencing Forson is not spending, Forson is not spending, and Forson is not generating revenue. Mr. Speaker, I have the fiscal performance of Ghana from 2017 to 2026. Let's look at revenue. Mr. Speaker, 2017, I will grant NPP that their best years were 2017, 2018, and 2019. Because after that, anything you tell them, they will say it's COVID. So let's narrow it down to their best performance. Mr. Speaker, in 2017, they budgeted to raise 44.96 billion. They ended up by getting 41.25 billion, making a net realized revenue of 3.71 billion. In 2018, they budgeted to raise 49.40 billion. They ended up by getting 46.81 billion, losing about 2.59 billion. In 2019, they budgeted to raise 58.91 billion. They only had 54.56 billion, making a loss of 4.34 billion. These are your best results in your best years. But Mr. Speaker, The same finance minister they say he's not spending, in 2025, he budgeted to raise 229.95 billion. He had 226.49 billion. He only lost 3.46 billion. On what grounds, what temerity do you have to say that Atu Forson is not raising enough revenue? Mr. Speaker, let's look at expenditure execution. It is also important to stop the politics that they are doing. In fact, in expenditure, Dr. Atu Forson that they say he is not spending, the best years under President Akufo-Addo, 2017, 2018, and 2019, they spent in excess of 40. The budget execution in terms of expenditure for 2017 was 94.5%, 2018 95.7%, and 2019 96.5%. Atu Forson in 2025 spent 94.4%. On what grounds are you saying he's not spending? Mr. Speaker, there is no better way of measuring whether a budget is performing or not. This is the scorecard on budget execution. In 2017, the revenue execution was moderate. Expenditure execution was restrained. That's the word that was given by the IMF, restrained. Overall score was amber. It means that the economy was given a caution. And the reason they gave was that consolidation began, but the capital spending and arrears require examination. In 2018, your revenue performance was described as weak. Your expenditure was below. Mr. Speaker, let me just say one thing, Mr. Speaker. In 2021, NPP added 47.4 billion Ghana cedis in 1 year. In 2022, they did 84.5% in 1 year. In 2023, they added 162 billion in 1 single year. And in 2024, they added 116 billion Ghana cedis in 1 year. President Akufo-Addo has the record of having borrowed more than all presidents combined from Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The scorecard for Dr. Atu Forson is reflected in price stability. The scorecard for Dr. Atu Forson has reflected in
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Patrick Yaobuama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a government that has raised so much money and cannot even pay doctors, nurses, and teachers. And the minister is very comfortable reporting this to us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a government that promised to create 800,000 jobs couldn't report to us during the media review. That is for the NDC government. Mr. Speaker, let me refer you to...
There's a problem.
Hello.
No, there's a problem.
Then you have to restart.
Yes.
Yes.
Please hold the time for him.
So now, all right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me refer the House to paragraph 464, 465, and 466 of the review, especially on 466. Government is therefore proposing further reforms in 3 key areas: shortening procurement lead times, limiting the use of single-source procurement, and tightening restricted tendering. Mr. Speaker, that is good. But, Mr. Speaker, go to the Finance Minister's constituency. I'm going to demonstrate to this House 3 very key projects that he's gone against what he's reporting to this House. 1, the Mankasim-Ajumaku-Swedru Road is 111 kilometers. It's going to cost this country about $250 million. Single-source procurement. Secondly, he is going to build a military barracks in Ajumaku at 200 million Ghana cedis. Number 3, he is going to build a specialist hospital. The Ajumaku military barracks is also a single-source procurement procedure that was used. The specialist hospital, instead of siting it in Cape Coast, is bringing it to Ajumaku at 850 million Ghana cedis, almost $80 million, on a restricted tender basis, Mr. Speaker. So if the minister comes to tell us that he's tightening procurement rules and regime, then I don't believe in what he's talking about. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the constituency chairman of the Minister of Finance is the chair of the Central Tender Review Committee. Yes. Hey. Professor Kwanzaa, you can check. His constituent is also the deputy CEO at the Public Procurement Authority.
Jesus Christ.
Mr. Speaker, and the Ministry of Finance supervises the PPA. Conflict of interest and abuse. Mr. Speaker, let me withdraw that bit of conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, that is the position. That is the Minister of Finance wanting to restrict.
You said the whole thing that you want to withdraw. Please withdraw.
In this country.
Please, you say you want to withdraw. Please withdraw.
I renew that bit of conflict of interest. Mr. Speaker, it's on. It's on. Are you the Speaker? Sit down.
Honourable members, the statement that the Finance Minister is in conflict of interest is expunged from the record as if it doesn't exist.
Mr. Speaker, I've mentioned the Jumako Road. I've mentioned the military barracks. The people of Jumako need jobs, but he decided to send them a military barracks. That's his problem. Mr. Speaker, the specialist hospital, Cape Coast has one of the best hospitals. He's decided to site a specialist hospital over 850 million Ghana cedis in the Jumako. That's fine, but the cocoa farmers in the Jumako have still not been paid, Mr. Speaker. The cocoa farmers in the Jumako want to be paid, and that is what Ghanaians want. Mr. Speaker, this House, I'm proud that you are a member of the committee. We passed the Tree Crop Development Authority Act, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under Section 26 of the Act, we mentioned the tree crops that this Act was going to support, including oil palm. In the 2026 main budget, he came here to tell us that he was going to spend over $500 million to revive the oil palm sector through the Ghana.
Majority Leader, you may stop his time for him.
Mr. Speaker, ordinarily, I will not be interrupting a senior member in debate, but repeatedly, he kept saying that the finance minister has sent a hospital project to his constituency. Mr. Speaker, I have been lobbying to have a hospital project in my constituency. And the person who sends hospital projects is the Minister for Health, not the Minister for Finance. It's the Minister for Health. If you talk about paying, of course, it is paid from government chest. But the person who sends it is the Minister for Health. So let's be accurate. And the roads are sent by the Minister for Roads, not by the Minister for Finance. So let us be accurate in our rendition of what happens in this country.
Mr. Speaker, that's unlike the majority leader. He's been in this House and knows that the Minister of Finance has a lot of influence in determining where projects go. That it's on record, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I see that they are interrupting, but I'll go to the 1,200 megawatts power plant that the minister is seeking. Where is the PRA in this country?
Well, your time is up. Yes.
Speaker, I respectfully thought that we came to an addendum that we shall be having commentaries without any form of interruptions. Speaker, if you look at 122 of the standing orders, there was no point of order. There was none whatsoever from my respected majority leader. Speaker, we all have agreed that if we are not careful, the time that we are all waiting to use properly, we may end up interrupting debates and commentaries.
Yes.
Yes, Speaker.
Honorable Jerry, I agree perfectly with you. You've all listened to Honorable Boama. Where I sit, if the rules are breached, I know. You see, if our debate can be devoid of personal attack, I think there will not be any need to do a point of order. Where we are, Jerry, with your position as a deputy whip, you are in a position of influence. So if you use the influence to send to lobby for a project in your constituency, doesn't mean you are the one sending the this thing. So please, please, if your brother or your constituent is working at a place, does it put you in a position of conflict of interest? Honourable members, it's now the turn of Titus Bayo. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the Honourable Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, I think the Honourable Minister delivered for me what would be one of the most inspiring statements in this House. It encapsulates indeed the Ghana that we want. He told us the country the present administration inherited. He told us how he worked hard with his team to clear up the mess. And if he had stopped there, he would have been lamenting. But instead of lamentation, he took us through the structures that he used to stabilize the economy. And he assured us that the stabilization was not a destination. It was the price that we needed to pay as an entry. And from there, we were to make progress. Mr. Speaker, he further told us plans that the government has to ensure that the future is properly taken care of. For instance, he mentioned to us that money has been set aside for a project that is yet to commence, the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. This is one of the first time that even before a project is started, sort is cut, assurances is given of money that has been made available. He has put money in the sinking fund to take care of expenditure that will be due in future. We have been in this country where, Mr. Speaker, previous administrations have borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and asked us to clap for them for borrowing. Instead, we have a finance minister and a government that is making proper plans to settle debts that will be due in future. He has also come up with what we call the Gas to Power initiative, which will reduce by 75% our production cost for energy if this is materialized. So I could not agree more that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, through the finance minister, has indeed moved the economy of Ghana from the emergency room to a wellness center. And for those who are not medically inclined, moving from the emergency room to a wellness center involves a lot of stages. You need to treat the person, which is what he has done, settled our debts and creditably discharged us from the IMF and taking us through the general ward by stabilization, and finally he is making sure that we do not fall back to that level of illness, which is that we don't borrow recklessly and end up in debt. Mr. Speaker, there have been accusations that the finance minister is not spending. If spending is spending recklessly, then the finance minister is indeed not spending. But if it is spending prudently, then he is spending. Mr. Speaker, the finance minister is spending prudently, and I can attest to that fact. Nursing trainee allowances of 144 million cedis has been paid. Ghana Medical Trust, the Mahama Care, has received 1.1 billion, and that has real manifestation in our life. If your relation is a patient, is one of the 22 patients who recently got treatment at the Kolebu Cardiac Catheterization Lab from complex procedures that they would have traveled out of this country, then you will know that the finance minister is spending and spending prudently. If you are a beneficiary of the National Health Insurance Scheme, you've gone to the hospital and your insurance card is working, and you know that the finance minister has paid 4.5 billion to the National Health Insurance Authority, then you will know that he's spending, and he's spending prudently, and you will not accuse him of not spending. The finance minister has spent 533 million Ghana cedis on the no-fee stress. If you are a student in the first year of tertiary institution in Ghana here that have benefited from this, you will not agree with anybody that makes the argument that our finance minister is not spending. You will rather agree that he's spending, but spending prudently. Mr. Speaker, in fact, I am particularly touched by some revelations from this statement of the finance minister, and that is investment in the most vulnerable sectors of our society. The conscience of the nation is judged by how it takes care of the most vulnerable. If a finance minister has taken 950,000 people out of the bracket of multidimensionally poor people, will you say that he's not spending? If he has spent 485 million to pay, will you say he's not spending?
Honourable members, I then move back to Honourable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. Yes, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement that was delivered by the Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, Section 28 of the Public Financial Management Act, which makes statutory the presentation of the mid-year review, is quite clear. It is a platform for the minister to account for how much of the economic program of the year has been executed and how much has not been executed. This morning, we saw the government communications machinery in overdrive, claiming on some of the TV stations that this is the first time a finance minister has presented the mid-year review and has not requested for more money. That's probably false. This is not the first time a finance minister has presented a mid-year review and has not requested for more resources. In fact, what has happened for the first time is that this is the first time a finance minister has presented the mid-year review and has not been able to tell the country how much of the economic program has been executed and how much has not been executed. And I could hear some of my colleagues on the other side laboring under the argument that they want to prove that some spending is going on. Mr. Speaker, let me ask them to go to Appendix 2A. It's in the document that you have. And in Appendix 2A, you will find out, Mr. Speaker, that this government, this minister, made promises of projects, jobs, and programs to the tune of 30 billion Ghana cedis, which it has not executed as at half year. As at half year, they have under-executed the budget. The reason for which many of you don't have projects going on in your constituency is because they have under-executed the budget by 30 billion Ghana cedis. And Mr. Speaker, that 30 billion Ghana cedis is jobs, is projects, is programs that they promised that they were going to deliver. And it was baffling to hear the finance minister then go on Joy News to argue that he is not spending as much as he programmed to spend because the NPP signed up with the IMF on a 1.5% primary balance. That's laughable, because that 1.5% primary balance is supposed to be achieved after you have executed your economic policy. So how do you use it as a basis not to execute? And what is worse, Mr. Speaker, is that he is now signaling that in 2027 he is going to lower the primary balance to 0.5. You know what that means? It means that all the so-called fiscal discipline they are talking about, they are going to lower the so-called fiscal discipline. Why? Because we are getting closer to elections, Abi. So now they are going to lower the primary balance from 1.5 to 0.5. Mr. Minister, the solution is not in lowering the primary balance. The solution is in paying more attention to your revenue measures so that you get the revenues that you need. Now, Mr. Speaker, when you fail to execute 30 billion Ghana cedis worth of projects in your budget, let me show you what it is. You see the money you are supposed to spend on flood control programs. The World Bank says because of your expenditure encumbrances, you refuse to spend so that your books will look good on paper. When the floods came, 34 people died, 6 went missing. That's the cost of what you are doing. The Agric Ministry needed about 1.6 billion Ghana cedis for fertilizers and other things. You claimed you had released it. The minister came and told everybody that that was untrue. And now, what is going on out there, ask those who go to the market the price of just one tomato. You will see the value of what you are doing. The education minister said he needed to recruit tens of thousands of young Ghanaians. Because you are not giving financial clearance because you want your books to look nice, they are sitting home and they are struggling with recruitment. Look at the health minister complaining that he wishes he could recruit more. But because you want your figures to look good, the people are sitting at home. And because you are not giving financial clearance for people to be recruited on 133 shift, they are all sitting at home. There's no single NDC chairman or women's organizer whose child is working on a 133 shift. And that is the evidence of your failure. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, let me speak in Twi and I'll translate contemporaneously into English.
Okay, 1 minute.
What's the young country there? Who inflation 5%? You know, where we marry? Upper press chrome to be antazi. Now inflation are performed. To which, Mr. Speaker, our mothers who sell in the market say they've seen what you are doing. You have sterilized all the money, so there's no money to execute demand, and that is why you calculate that inflation is down. Abosu okai spare parts for no. He promised to reduce import duties. He has increased it.
Members, order.
Mr. Speaker, I want to end by serving notice, and notice is hereby served. The next NPP government under the leadership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will ensure that we have inflation at low rates that will not cost the Bank of Ghana 16 billion Ghana cedis. The next NPP government under Dr. Bawumia will ensure that the currency is stable and we won't lose $900 million. You lose $900 million at the Bank of Ghana.
Honourable member, your time is up. Honourable members, can we listen to each other in silence? Please. It's now the turn of Eric Afu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to make a contribution to the media budget review. You are happy that I'm up to speak. Mr. Speaker, let me commend the Finance Minister so much for his courageous and efficient delivery of the media budget review. And let me commend him again for staying within the appropriation. For staying within the appropriation of 357 billion Ghana cedis. It is telling you that he knew what he did. It is telling you that he's very efficient and effective and responsible. Mr. Speaker, let me quote the Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, Ghana has not met its first half targets. It has exceeded them. This is where you should stand. Mr. Speaker, the domestic revenue and grants, we appropriated to achieve 7.9% of GDP. We did 7.8% first half of the year. That is the revenue target. So I don't know why you are saying that revenue is understated. Mr. Speaker, let me come to the expenditure part. I don't know why my colleagues are saying that we are not spending. Go to the budget review and quote the total expenditure. Total expenditure on commitment basis was 8.0% of GDP against half-year target of 9.9%. So what are you talking about? Mr. Speaker, let me run them through some of the expenditure. Let me outline some of the expenditure that we did. Mr. Speaker, compensation, when take the appropriation, was supposed to be 57, supposed to be 90 billion for the entire year. How much have we spent? 48.8% for the first half of the year. Mr. Speaker, interest rate we're supposed to pay about 57 billion. What have we done? Let me quote from the review. 21.5 billion for interest payment. Also, to honor our international debt obligation, an amount of $700 million for Eurobond debt service and interest has been paid. Lastly, to restore confidence in our financial system, an amount of $10 billion to domestic bond holders. Domestic bond holders. What does it mean? It means that we have multiplier effects in our economy. That's the government expenditure. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about stable macroeconomic conditions in the country. What does this signify in the country? Mr. Speaker, it is telling you that Ghana has joined, Mr. Speaker, its colleagues, Benin, Cape Verde, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Togo. These are the countries which have satisfied the convergence criteria for the establishment of ECO in West Africa Monetary Zone. Ghana is one of them. And let me say that next year we are inaugurating the ECO. Next year we are inaugurating the ECO. Ghana is one of them. Mr. Speaker, let me run you through the convergence criteria for you to see. First of all, the primary convergence criteria, that's the budget deficit. Ghana has qualified. Budget deficit should be less or equal to 3% of GDP. Now, where are we now? We are doing 2.1%, which is better. Mr. Speaker, we are saying that annual average inflation should be less or equal to 5%. Ghana is doing 3.2% to 5.4% as of June 2026. Mr. Speaker, the central bank finance of budget deficit should be 10%. No, 10%. Mr. Speaker, Ghana is doing zero. Ghana is doing zero. Bank of Ghana is not financing our budget deficit. Mr. Speaker, let me say that with respect to gross international reserves, what we are doing is that we are on course. Mr. Speaker, what are we saying? Mr. Speaker, this budget review is one of the best budget reviews so far, simply because we knew.
Remember, your time is up. It's now the turn of Honorable Asafoje. Honorable Asafoje, you have the floor.
Tell them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I want to also raise some few points on the media review. The Speaker, the media review is supposed to do a few things. One of them is to tell the government's projection or the government achievement with respect to the budget it presented to this House. The second one, which majority of the youth are looking up to, is to tell the people the jobs that this budget that was presented to us have been able to achieve. The Speaker, it is sad to present that the budget that was presented to us in 2026, or for the 2026 year, the Speaker outlined a few items that will create jobs. One is a big push that is supposed to create 490,000 jobs. The second is a garment factory, 3 new garment factories.